Right, so I had a bit of a disaster last week, if you saw the short, with the gearbox jack, the automotive one. I'm still waiting for a supplier to get back to me about a 1 ton one, and I got bored of waiting. So I bought this one. It's from, as you can see, SGS. This is their transmission jack, half ton. This is how it comes in the box. I thought I'd do this. We can unbox it together, see what we get inside, and yeah, here we go. So this was actually quite cheap, to be fair. I bought this and some gearbox oil, compressor oil, and the two, I bought 4 bottles of compressor oil. So with delivery and everything else, this works out about £130 delivered. It's only a single stage. There we are, TJV 500. That's a particular specific model, and this is how it comes in the box. That's the one foot. That's the other foot. That's the top of the gearbox jack there. Pop that over there. What we got? Yeah. So that's the actual jack. I assume that's the wheels in this package here. Oh yeah. So that's where a lot of the weight is. So on this end here we should have, yeah, we've got 4 bolt holes. So we should have some bolts and bits in the bag there. So let's get the bag. Box even. Let's get the box. Kinda need one of those that goes lower. There we go. We'll get you in shot. Bolts here. In that bag. Interesting to see how these hold up. So on the automotive one, it's this part here, that bolt head pulled through. So it'll be interesting to see if this one holds up to the test of time. It did take a couple of years. I probably did lift some things. I mean, the problem is that the floor's never quite perfectly level. So, and when the floor's not level or perfectly level, as you jack up on your gearbox jack, you're actually jacking up on one or 2 wheels. I mean, generally you'll probably jack up on 3 wheels. They should take that into consideration on the rating, but obviously it's one of those things. It may or may not affect it in the way you'd think. All stuck together there are the big ones. What else we got? So we've got 4 of those. 4 large lock nuts there. 4 of these. So I'm going to take a guess that we need 4 of those. Yep. They will be for those. The larger ones, the smaller ones are for here. So the smaller ones will be that. And then a washer, like that. So I will get this. Oh, you can hang around if you want to skip forward in the video to the point where I'm assembling it, then that's absolutely fine, I don't mind. Or to it even assembled. Right, so we've got our wheel sections here. So they go on like that. Probably take you over there. Hey, crash. You fell out. There we go. So these are Allen head cap screws. Nice thread. Feels quite good, that thread. It's not binding and horrible. This does go up to, I think it's pretty sure it's at 2 meters. Pop that down like that. And I'm going to take the other one. That'll go on this side like that. Take those. I'm not going to tighten these up yet. I'm going to wait till it's on the floor, because there will be a little bit of movement in these, so I'll try and find a relatively level part of the floor. Let it settle, then tighten those up. So that's that. Take out the casters. Washer, lock washer, nut, so you would think that there is such a thing as having too many gearbox jacks. From my experience, there isn't. I originally had one, which was the automotive one, which was fine in most ways. And then it was a little while later I found a quite expensive, about £1.5 grand for a later one, for a Sealy one. So I found an older Sealy one online and decided that it was 100 quid used and worked, and I bought that. And I mean, that is way more of a gearbox jack than this one or the other one that I've got. I will show you them in a second. This is the part where I find out the plastic only comes off the bottom. Right, so we'll pick this up without smashing everything. Maybe. And there it is, stood up. Right, I'm just going to do these bolts up and I will be back with you. There we go. Right, so that's everything out the box. It's very straightforward. It just drops on there like that. So that is just below my chest on me. Let's take a tape measure. Let's actually tell you a real measurement of the sizes of it. So base here, you go obviously from corner to corner. You are 57. So it's 57 by 57 centimetres square. And it's lowest, well, it's not probably monotonously, it's lowest at the minute, but we are like 115, maybe 110 when we're at our lowest. Let's see, shall we? Oh yeah, that's sprung loaded as well. So that's spring loaded. Let's push down. Let's operate it, shall we? I'm sure you guys are getting dizzy. So that should be locked. $85 pumps from top to bottom, and that is high actually, to be fair. That is over 2 meters. So what are we at? 180, 190. Do we go? Yeah. Let's go in the middle. So you are 2 meters, sort of middle of the saddle there at the top, which to be fair is about the highest you're going to get on most 2-post lifts. Most 2-post lifts are about 1.9 meters of raising height. See how easy it comes back down. Okay. I do like the sprung loaded valve, I'll be honest. The automotive is just wherever you leave it, and I have done it before where you sort of knock it to let it down a bit, and then you go to grab the gearbox and it carries on down when you don't want it to. So I do kind of like that. There we go. Be interesting to see. Let's see if what size that is, shall we? So this is the saddle off of another one. Yeah, it's a little bit smaller, but to be fair, if we was to do the bolt up there, we'd probably use that on there without any problems at all. And then obviously that gives you your angle. I'll be honest, this feature, side to side on a gearbox jack, is bloody useless. If it was a tilt, it would be much more useful, I think. But never mind. So that does mean though, these adapters I made up for the other one, I've got one of these that I made up. It's just a bit of pipe welded to a big thick bit of steel with a rubber pad for a lift on it, so that when you're working on suspension and stuff like that, you can put that up underneath like that, and you can use that to help hold things up in the air. And it's obviously a lot smaller than the original saddle, so it's less in the way. I've even got this one, which is very useful for holding exhaust pipes and bits and pieces. To be fair, on this one will also do the same job with an exhaust pipe or what have you. But this is also designed as a hub mate. So all I did was took the idea of the hub mate and then just machined them, well, ground that out with a die grinder, well, with an angle grinder, a drill, and a die grinder, and made it so that it fits, so you can bolt that to a hub and use it to hold a hub and jack the suspension up and down. It stops them laying over when you've got the strut out and the drive shaft falling out. So that all works on here, although they are different sizes. So you can see there is a 4mm difference in that. But I could always take another bit of sleeve, stick that inside there. It's not a problem. So should we line them up together? And then I can show you all three of the jacks I've got. So that's all three of them. So as I say, this is obviously the tallest and the newest one. We shall see how it goes. I do like the fact that it's got the handle here, which is helpful for moving it around. You've also got the handles here, which you can stand up and move them around. Whereas these two are a bit more difficult. I do like the sprung-loaded valve on this one, so it always closes itself. Like I say, the Automotive one, that's closed, that's open, there is no spring-loaded. Probably wouldn't be too difficult to make that spring-loaded, if we're honest. I do kind of prefer this method, so you've got a foot down and a foot up, and you have got a handle for moving it around, but the handle, I'll be honest, is not that useful. If you're wondering what this is a subframe slash fuel tank tool. I made it myself. It's just some square tube with some nuts, some long connecting nuts on the end with some threaded rod with a bit of steel plate and a nut welded together. And then I just put a bit of rubber on the end. And then we've got some little stops and what have you, just to so you can adjust it around and put it on fuel tanks and subframes. When you're working on vehicles on your own, stuff like this is just absolutely amazing to use. So that's that. Obviously this has got the standard top on it. So if you're looking for something that's low, the Sealy one and the Automotive one are obviously the lowest, with the SGS one being quite tall in comparison. Let's see how high they all go. And there we go, they're all at their maximum height. And yeah, the Automotive loses. The Sealy's in second place there, and the SGS one is actually the tallest. So the SGS one goes up higher than the other two. Now I do know this one, I've picked cars up off the lift with this. So it claims half a ton, but it'll probably push more like a ton and a half, if we're entirely honest. But I have picked the corner of cars and stuff up with it, and it's still perfectly fine. It still works, you know, no problems at all. So this is probably the most superior out of all three in that respect. The Automotive, as you can see, is like 50% the size. Then obviously the SGS one. It'll be interesting to see, because I mean these shafts, the secondary shafts, the Automotive is very slightly larger than that, so it'll be interesting to see what that's like. And obviously this Sealy one here is much bigger. This one, I'll be honest, the down is slow on that first stage. It's not, it's controllable, don't get me wrong, but when you get to that second stage, look, with no weight on there, with no subframe or gearbox or anything on top of it, you do notice how slow it is. And to be honest, it's one of those where you can jump on it and try and sort of press on it at the same time. Doesn't really get any quicker. Even though my foot obviously is a variable pedal. But it's almost not quite got enough down. Now, I did notice jacking these up. This one, it feels a little awkward to try to press the pedal up and down quickly, but some of that is to do with the fact that the pedal is already quite high off the floor, which is probably good because this one here, so as you can see, this has got that rounded edge on it. This one here hasn't, and that has had a shin or two. It's definitely had a shin or two, I'll guarantee that. Now, the automotive one, so that's open all the way now, and it doesn't actually take itself down. It's not, the oil's leaking out of it, but it's not got enough quality in it to, to take itself down. Now, you could say that that's not very fair, but yes, it's got a couple of years age on it, but so's that. And that still works. So, not so good on the down function on its own. This one, actually, I actually like that. That's really nice. I almost feel like I want to go completely overboard and do a Project Farm or a talk test channel and get some scales and see if they actually lift half a ton or if they lift more or less, or but that's probably going a little bit far. But there you go, that's the obviously we had a look at 3 jacks, but that's the SGS jack that I've just bought. Simple to put together, all of 4 nuts, 4 lock washers, 4 standard washers, and then you've got some Allen head cap screws, and there you go, it's all together. Obviously if I have any problems with it or if it goes well or whatever, I will update you and let you know how it goes. It will be interesting because I am thinking about buying another one of these, but it is a 1 ton and it's made by a different company compared to all these 3. It would be interesting if I do end up with that to see the difference between this half ton that's 100 quid, 140 pound, and a 1 ton that is about 450 pounds. Will be interesting to see what the differences are. But thanks for watching. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you on the next one.